G'day guys, I'm back with a third video today and probably the last one for today. I might have another video tomorrow on my Sunday. This audio video will be on women versus women, toxic femininity. It's real, sorry about that. And it's time to talk about it. It was uploaded on November the 27th, 2018 by Avasari Singh. And it was on the news18.com website. In its annual tradition, Oxford Dictionary declared the word of the year for 2018 has toxic. From toxic air to toxic politics, the sheer scope of its application in 2018 made toxic the standout choice for our word of the year, writes Oxford Dictionary. Whilst we cannot ignore toxic air and toxic politics, of late the conversation in society has been around toxic masculinity. It's the boss who responds to sexual rejection by taking away key projects. It's the lover who demands a blowjob right now. It's the friend who says get over it when a woman cries about sexual harassment. However, although the term toxic masculinity is often used loosely to imply that men in general are insensitive beasts, that is not true. What toxic masculinity really refers to is when stereotypically male traits that are endorsed by a culture that takes forms that damage society and ultimately men themselves. Strength morphs into violence. Assertiveness warps into entitlement. Stoicism is twisted into emotional stuntedness. The result is men who can't take no for an answer, who are unable to empathise with others, and who sometimes become the subjects of Me Too posts. But as any self-help guru worth their salt will tell you, where there is a yin, there is also a yang. Is there such a thing as toxic femininity? I believe there is, and it takes many forms. Examples: it's the manager who verbally abuses teammates and then blames premenstrual syndrome. It's the lover who withholds sex until she gets her way about a vacation. It's a counsellor who empathises so deeply with a client that she tells her to file a false rape case. Toxic femininity is when women use their gender to obtain certain privileges. It is when noxious indirect modes of confrontation are masked with gentleness. It is when empathy turns into ethical short-sightedness. Just like toxic masculinity, toxic femininity is the product of a deeply patriarchal society and symptoms, and thus requires greater examination. The imminent rise of toxic femininity. Urgent whispers that stop when you walk into a room. When you ask what the secret is, they say nothing. An offhand comment about your shoes elegantly summed up how you just cannot fit in. She's the kindest boss you've ever had, yet why is her name on the report you authored? You once bonded over feminism, but she treats you like a pariah now that you've had a baby. Constant comments about your body, but how can you be offended? She's a woman after all. Traditionally feminine values such as empathy, compassion, nurturance, team playing, whether they are expressed in men or women, are already being valorized with good reason, as being generally better for society. However, just as we erred by placing male traits on a pedestal, look where that got us, we also need to exercise caution when we extol feminine virtues. Thing is, men and women are part of the same species. It's just that we've been conditioned differently, and so our gendered pathologies are different. Men have long had a physical and social advantage, allowing them to aggress more forcefully and openly. Women have been deeply and systematically oppressed, so they have had to hone their skills in subtler, but also devastating forms of warfare. Just as toxic masculinity harms men and women, so does toxic femininity. Except that toxic femininity has not really been unpacked in mainstream discourse, except for the poorly thought through rantings of men's rights groups. This is because in many cultures women have only recently started entering positions of power and leadership in the public sphere. Their participation in the workforce is still low. Archetypes such as the smothering mother, the entrapped lover, the scheming mother-in-law, the backstabbing friend have been around for a long time, but they have been seen as individual nuisances in the private sphere. However, these types of toxicities are likely to get a corporate makeover as more women assume their rightful place in society and in large decision making. Female forms of power seeking and covert aggression will be more evident and more capable of inflicting greater damage. Women versus women. There is a lot of discussion around making workplaces better for women, but an inconvenient fact seems to have been lost along the way. Women are aggressors too, particularly against others of the same gender. In a recent study, more than 70% of women reported feeling bullied by their female colleagues. This is compatible with the findings of a 2014 study by a Workplace Bullying Institute that found that while more males are bullies, there are a bit more equal opportunity about it. 57% of female targets and 43% of male targets. Women prefer to unleash on other women. 68% female targets, 32% on male targets. There is nothing surprising about this. Because of how society has been structured, the women have traditionally targeted other women, usually within domestic or personal settings. You have the mother-in-law with her handy can of kerosene, friendly neighbourhood aunties who make humiliating observations about your reproductive status, friends who patiently eat biscuits while they plot to destroy your standing in the social group. At the workplace too, women keep other women in line in various ways. Malicious gossip, rumour campaigns, the threat of social exclusion and disapproval. This kind of aggression is often difficult to call out since it operates under the cover of sweet smiles and friendly greetings. Women can be really good at plausible deniability. Oh, I forgot to CC you in about the junket invite. Silly me. Or I thought you didn't want the promotion because you have kids to think of. Or we didn't call you for lunch because you're so quiet we sometimes forget you exist. Tee hee. Women more than men exert crushing pressures on each other to look a certain way, and girls' cliques can feel as exclusionary and noxious as boys' clubs. Also, some women colleagues are not downright malicious, but they are firmly allied to whoever is in power. They may offer you empathy and snacks from their tiffin box, but if you complain to them about the big bosses sexually harassing you, you may not be able to bank on them to actually support you. Sorry about that. It is the job of the feminist discourse to promote balance and equality in society, and that includes intervening when women drag other women down, although feminists themselves are notorious for infighting. Oh, it's a really long article, but we'll go further in. When kindness kills. Even as women embrace ambitions and power, they feel pressurized to be seen as agreeable and non-confrontational. This conflict may be resolved through covert modes of conflict and passive aggression, which I have described earlier. It may also lead to poor feedback and thus poor performance of the company. At a publishing house I worked in many years, a managing editor was known for her propensity to redo the shoddy work of her subordinates. This is because she hated criticizing others. Everyone loved her for kindness, but she got burned out and quit, and subordinates never improved their skills or took responsibility. Her kindness was both a way of exerting control and maintaining a saintly image, but it backfired. I might just link this in, the rest of the article, in the comments section. It is a good article. It links in the Me Too movement, sexual harassment allegations, sexual harassment at the workplace, toxic masculinity, toxic feminism, and infighting. I'll be back with another video hopefully soon. Ciao.